Hi everyone, this is Nim Gholkar. Welcome to the next episode of Sydney Social Live, a one-of-its-kind, thought-provoking talk show which puts the spotlight on the social norms of the day, which of course are a reflection of how society has changed and evolved over the years. I am so excited today. My special guest requires no introduction whatsoever. Former captain of the Australian women's national cricket team and the 27th Australian to be inducted in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Everyone, please welcome Lisa Sthalekar. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on Sydney Social Live. You have no idea how excited everyone is, including myself. I hope you're excited too to be here.
Yeah, I've got my cup of tea, so I'm pretty happy.
Cup of tea. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Let's get started. Lisa, as everyone knows, you've recently been in India covering the Cricket World Cup 2023. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience there and also maybe talk about the passion and the fervor of Indian cricket fans, which in itself is, a unique experience?
Yeah, look, two weeks in India, it was pretty quick. Lots of travel. As you guys would know, the airports in India are a long way out from wherever you stay, so even though it's an hour flight, it's about a half a day trip in the end from kind of hotel to hotel. But the cricket was good. I was fortunate enough to do the first game, India versus New Zealand, and then I was really lucky to be commentating for India-Pakistan, and that's probably where I got a chance to really see, and I'd already witnessed an experience last year in the T20 World Cup here in Australia at the MCG when 86,000 came in, but to kind of go to Ahmedabad, the biggest stadium, close to 130,000.
Wow.
No Pakistanis there, really. All Indians, all a sea of blue. It was a different experience, and the hype around that, and everyone knows, you guys feel it as well, is the love and passion for cricket. And especially when Team India are playing, everyone stops, watches and follows, and the Indian side is going well so far.
Yeah, well, it's practically a religion, isn't it, in India, cricket? That's awesome. One question I've been meaning to ask you, Lisa, is whether it's the world of cricket or commentating, which is what you do now a lot of, they're both very male-dominated fields. Now, a lot of women watching are also currently in industries where it is male-dominated. And you are someone, a huge inspiration. You've managed to find your voice, hold your own. Can you give any tips in terms of how one would go about doing that?
Yeah, I'd say that one thing is that I've always believed that I had the skill set to be able to do whatever I wanted to, whether that was playing or whether it was commentating or whether it was going into sports administration, which was again very male dominated. Because I felt I was good enough for the role, it didn't bother me that there were males. Maybe because playing sport and having that kind of tussle and always fight to prove yourself, it came naturally to me. Now I know that isn't necessarily the case for everyone, but I didn't doubt my ability. I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been plenty of times where I've questioned what I was doing or if I was good enough, but I wanted to make an impact, and I felt that I was the right person to do so. So I stuck to that. I stuck to the reason why I wanted to do the sport or do the role in commentary, and then worked hard to make sure that that there was no question marks of whether I should be here or I shouldn't be here.
So hard work and knowing the why behind what you do. I think that's so important. That is awesome. All right, well, Lisa, cricket has the power to create lasting bonds, whether that's between teams or between nations. Can you share any anecdotes or experiences which reflect the camaraderie between the Australian and Indian cricketers?
Yeah, I can. The first time I actually came across the Indian side was about 2003, and I kind of saw my reflection in them, but I couldn't speak the language. But I played the sport, and I played in a side that was quite successful. So we, over a long period of time, I became friends with a lot of the players from the Indian team, and now actually wherever I am in the world, or if we cross paths, or if I'm in their city, I always give them a call, and vice versa, and we catch up long after we've hung up the boots and we've moved on and we've gone our separate ways. I think actually, not just India and Australia, because obviously there is a tight bond there, and my connection to India, but I think just in general, a cricket community or a community in general, they're the ones that kind of stick with you no matter what. They come in and out of your life because you tend to go off to different places, but they're the one constant, and they've been in your life for such a long period of time. They've seen the highs and lows of things off the field as well, and certainly whenever I've been at my lowest, it's that cricket community that has come around me and picked me up and helped me on my way.
Awesome. No, that's great. Now, as a captain, you have had your share of being in a leadership role. And when you are in a leadership role, you often have to make tough, critical decisions in the moment, right, under pressure. So can you share an example where you've had to make a critical decision as a captain and how you came about?
Yeah, I think with sporting teams, you're with your mates, and then all of a sudden you get elevated into that leadership role. And in cricket, sometimes you have to make some tough decisions where you have to drop your best friend, and you've got to put the needs of the team first before a friendship. They're never the easiest thing, and obviously for young people, getting those leadership opportunities, you're slightly separated from the group, so that can be awkward in a sense. You know, you still want to be part of the group, but you have to make sure that you're accessible to everyone. So it's balancing and figuring out who you are as a leader whilst going through all of those things. So I went through those difficult times. I think the main thing I learnt was be honest with the person that you're letting down or is not in the side, or someone that's coming in, or even sometimes if you've made a mistake on the field, in a team discussion, just put your hand up and go, actually, I stuffed up. You know, I made the wrong mistake. I'll learn from it and I'll be better for it. I think the great thing about sport is you actually fail more than you succeed. And the difference between a good player and a great player is their ability to be resilient and find ways of going, well, what can I take from that failure to make me a better person? And you don't let a run of low scores or getting hit out of the park affect you. You're like, okay, just keep focusing on the process of getting better. And I think that's been the difference, and the same thing even from a leadership point of view.
What I love about that answer is a lot of our viewers, often in the corporate space as well, to give an analogy, they often sort of move from being part of a team to being the direct manager. And that's when they have to make these tough decisions and talk to people who are once their friends. And I'm sure they're going to gain a lot from your answer, which is amazing. I've learned a lot as well. Let's come to conflict. Okay, this is something in the corporate workspace. A lot of our viewers are entrepreneurs or they're professionals. In sport as well, there can be a lot of conflict, and there is a lot of conflict. Can you share any conflict resolution techniques which you've picked up in your cricketing journey?
Yeah, I think if you sense that there's a conflict or people aren't on the same page, the easiest way to go about it is address it. Address the elephant in the room. Don't beat around the bush. Go up to that person and actually say, can we catch up? I sense this, or I've heard this, and instead of going around to others and almost ganging up, or as we say, bitching behind their back, it's like address that person or address the issue head on. And then the other thing to do is listen, because it's very hard to hear criticism or feedback that isn't positive, and our natural response is to get our backs up. But it takes someone quite brave to be honest with how they're feeling or about a situation. So acknowledge that and give them the courtesy of being respectful and listening. Take it on board and then start to explain reasons behind a decision that's made. Sometimes it's people aren't aware of what you're going through, or vice versa. So be willing and open to have those conversations, those difficult conversations, and be willing to listen first and then work through things.
Love it. Be prepared to listen first. I think that is a key takeaway from your answer, because active listening, sadly, is something that a lot of people struggle with and often don't do, which leads to more conflict. Wow. Okay. Lisa, your parents, what role did they play in your formative years when you were taking up the sport?
Yeah, a huge role, because they were the taxi drivers, so if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have made any of the grounds across Sydney. But look, choosing cricket, so I actually played tennis. Tennis was my first sport, and cricket was just the fun sport that you played with your mates. But to be a female, not knowing that women's cricket existed in the early, 80s, you needed supportive parents, and I had that. There was no, you shouldn't be playing cricket, or that's not for girls. It was, okay, well, let's figure out how we get you into a side. And then from there, my father, having played cricket back in India himself, knew that I had some kind of ability, but said, okay, let me find you a coach, because I can't teach you anything. And then my mother was the one that made sure that I had enough fuel, so she fed me extremely well.
As mothers tend to do.
As mothers tend to do. But she also would come to all of the games, and whilst my father was the cricket nerd and was entrenched in all of that, my mother would miss half of it because she was too busy talking to all of the other parents. But, she kind of made me realise it doesn't matter if you fail, the sun does come up the next day. So, put it in perspective and just enjoy yourself. Yeah,
wow. You mentioned something interesting, that when you took up cricket as a sport, the concept of women playing cricket was, well, even though things have changed, they haven't changed as much as they could possibly. So even today I see a lot of Indian boys playing cricket, but not so many Indian girls. Is there something you'd like to tell the parents maybe who are watching, in words of encouragement of how they can go about to get more girls playing cricket here?
Yeah, I mean, when I was working at Cricket New South Wales, and this was probably about 10, 12 years ago, I'd come across and I'd go into schools and I'd find a lot of South Asian females loving the sport, but there was a push from the family to focus on academics, stay out of the sun. I'm quite happy to rip the Band-Aid off and talk about that, because we're in a country actually where the darker you are, the better it is, right? Everyone wants to,
That's right.
All of the lighter people want to get darker, and all of the darker people want to get lighter. And I've even gone to India, where I've gone to a salon and they're like, would you like to get your tan off? And I'm like, no, I actually like the colour I am.
Good idea, yeah.
So, I think the world is moving on from that. And I hope that parents are supportive of their daughters wanting to do whatever they want to do, whether it be academics, get into a business, start something that they want to do, and not go down the role of marriage unless they want to. And if they want to play sport, they can. One thing that we've seen a huge change of over a period of time is now that there is an influx in money into the sport. So now you can be financially independent. Whether it be you own your own business or work, or you play sport. So just be supportive. Whatever makes your daughter happy, surely that's what you want.
Yeah, and like you said, your mother also told you there's no such thing as failure. The sun will rise again the next day. I think that's amazing, and I'm sure our viewers are going to be super inspired after this message from you. So thank you for that. All right, so now Sam, we'll come to our rapid fire round soon, but sort of as a preparation for that, I've got some short, quick questions for you. You've been recently to India, and fans in India are, like I say, a whole species apart. Is there any moment where a fan approached you that has particularly stayed in your memory?
Yeah, I'd probably have to say the first time when I got stopped, and it would have been 2011. And where was I? I was in Mumbai in a sporting store, and so I was just at the back end of my career, And women's cricket wasn't really seen on TV. We were lucky if we got a handful of games on TV. And I was with my manager at the time. We were getting some stuff, and someone came up to me and they went, "Oh my gosh, you're Lisa Sthalekar," and I'm like, "Yes." How do you know? And they said, "Oh well, we heard your accent and then looked at you," and I was like, "Wow, okay. Well, you must be an absolute tragic follower of cricket if you've been able to spot me." So that's kind of stuck in my mind. And then over time, because I've been on TV a lot more as a commentator, people recognise me. But that's one that stood out. And then a couple of times that you can sometimes walk into a restaurant or a shop and someone goes, "Oh, Lisa," and I'm like, "Yes." I'm thinking, do I know you? Because I do come across a lot of people, so that always, they get surprised, and I get shocked as well. But yeah, look, it's lovely, and my interactions with people that have always come up, I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
I love the support of people following the women's game, so I'm always there to help and assist and spend some time with them.
So I just love it how people, I think it's also because they see you so often, they're probably thinking they know you.
Yeah, a little bit like that. And it's like, but I don't know you. Just remember, I don't know you.
That is so funny. You mentioned that you've been on TV a lot, in your role as a commentator. And I've listened to you, and you come across so confident, so articulate. Is this something you were always good at growing up as well, public speaking and all that kind of thing?
No, if you'd asked my family, I struggled to ring Pizza Hut to make a home delivery for. I used to stumble. I didn't know what to say. I was embarrassed. I was really shy, and it's taken a lot of. I know it's surprising because you can't shut me up now, but I certainly enjoyed cricket because it felt like I had a platform to speak from. I think I needed that, or even working for Cricket New South Wales initially, it was like, "Hi, I'm Lisa Sthalekar from Cricket," having from something instead of some random person just gave me a little bit more confidence. But yeah, so
it's amazing because a lot of people watching would be thinking, "I'm terrified of public speaking, there's no hope." But then seeing someone like you who today, like I was telling you offline, you are so amazing with words, they seem to come to you easily. I'm sure they're going to take away a lot of inspiration because public speaking is a learned skill. It's not something you're born with.
No, it is a learned skill. And my father, who was a hypnotherapist, he would suggest when I kind of had an issue facing someone or public speaking, he always said, look at certain points or look at them like they're in clown suits to take away that kind of that fear that you have when you first get up there. But it takes time, just like anything in life. You've got to practice.
Absolutely. Talking about your father, that reminds me, I wanted to share something very interesting. So all my 3 kids are born at Ryde Hospital, and this is back in I think 97. I remember driving past your father's practice where it says Dr. Sthalekar, and back then it was so rare to see a Maharashtrian doctor's name out there on a practice, so I thought I'd share that with you. That is amazing.
See, it's a full circle, right?
And you mentioned your dad's got 3 different...
Yeah, 3 different, he studies, he still does. I mean, he's 82, but he has 3 doctorate degrees, one in sports psychology, one in quantum physics, and one in comparative religion, so...
Wow, very, very impressive. And the secret to youth is to never stop learning, they say.
Well, that's him. He's going to be around annoying me for a lot longer then.
That is so sweet. Lisa, have you watched any Bollywood movies?
I have.
Okay.
And I do. And even because I'm on the planes so many times, especially international, when I go to India, I actually find some Bollywood movies to watch because obviously I need a few subtitles. I've actually gone to the movies in India when there hasn't been any subtitles.
Oh, no.
And it's really hard work. Try watching a Kannada 3-hour film and I'm like...
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So any favorites that come to mind in terms of...
My favourite and my initial one was Masum.
Oh, lovely.
So I actually, I remember getting the cassette and bringing it home and playing it constantly. So those songs are still
Those songs are legendary, aren't they? That's amazing. All right, you've been to India. Tell us your favourite city. Is there a favourite city?
There's a couple. Mumbai has a special place in my heart because obviously I used to go back there for school holidays because my grandmother lived in Gumdevi, so Marine Drive
nice.
and Chowpatty Beach we used to go to. So, and whenever I go to Mumbai, we tend to stay the Marine Drive South Bombay way. So,
Sobo it's called.
Yes, Sobo, yeah. So it's very familiar to me and it is a home.
Yeah.
Bangalore has become another place that I enjoy. I've got a number of friends there, and the cafe scene and the brewery scene is good. And then the place to kind of visit as a tourist, Jaipur. So,
oh, lovely. Can you believe I still have not been to Jaipur?
Oh, well, you need to go.
There you go. So it's something on my to-see list. Quickly, the Indian diaspora all over the world, I mean, we are everywhere, right?
Yes, you are.
Is there anything in common in terms of behaviors that you've noticed globally?
Yeah, one thing, and I think, this is traits that I've inherited or are innate in me is always an open door policy. We're always willing and happy to feed you.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it. Whereas I find even with my friends here in Australia, it's like you have to book in a week in advance and block off a time from, 6 to 8 is dinner, that's it. Whereas, I travel to India or I travel around, and if I'm in the neighbourhood, I'll say, hey, I'm in your town today. They're like, come over for dinner. And it's like they'll just drop everything or they won't even work and they'll take you around. And I think that's really special, and I like that about the Indian culture and the Indian people. So I certainly feel that my family probably adopted a similar ritual or habit, and so it's certainly something that I have in my household, that if you're around and you call me, I'll certainly try and make time to see you.
Awesome. That is awesome. And you've encapsulated the Indian philosophy so beautifully. That's so true. Yeah, we love feeding, we love hosting.
Feeding, yes. It's a problem when you're an athlete and you've got to stick to a certain diet. But now I'm retired, so I don't care.
That's right. So now it's our rapid fire rounds. I'm just going to ask you very quick questions. Some of them are going to be tough choices, Lisa, so I hope you're prepared. Prepared. All right. Tea or coffee?
Coffee in the morning, tea at night.
And when you're in India, do you have masala chai or?
I do,
yeah?
masala chai.
You like that?
And then fresh lime soda, sweet and salty.
Love it. Books or movies?
Movies.
Okay.
But a book just before I go to bed to stop my mind. Otherwise it races and I don't sleep.
Good approach. All right, this is a tough one. Chole bhatura or masala dosa?
Masala dosa.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay. Salwar kameez or sari?
I'd love to wear more saris. I just don't know how to put them on, and I do have a wonderful pink Mysore silk sari that every now and again I try, but so I just find them both actually very comfortable to wear.
Okay, all right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night
Owl, okay. So sunset up, and after that you sort of come alive.
Well, I don't know if I come alive, but I struggle to get out of bed, let's say.
Okay, all right. Sachin Tendulkar or Steve Waugh?
Tendulkar.
Woohoo!
Wasn't a hard choice. Sorry, Steve Waugh.
What about your favorite Indian restaurant in Sydney? Is there one?
I'd have to say at the moment now, Masala Theory in Surrey Hills.
Okay.
And then I used to go to Surjit's as well, obviously knowing the family quite well. But yeah, to be honest, COVID was a godsend for me because I had so many spices in the cupboard and I never had time. But I actually learned a lot more dishes. I can make my own chapatis and things like that.
Now that is an achievement.
So I'm actually quite happy to cook my own Indian at home.
So is there like a favorite dish that you prepare? Like if you were inviting friends and they wanted you to cook Indian, would you?
Yeah, I try everything. So masala dosas. And I've got family recipe of sambar powder, so from South India as well. So that's really, really nice. Bindi, I like
Okay.
bindi, egg masala.
Wow, I'm getting hungry just listening to all this.
Dal, can't go past dal.
But you get a gold star for making a chapati because after all these years, I still can't get it right.
Oh, well, I'm not saying I've got it right. I think it's still a little bit thick.
Work in progress.
And it may not be absolutely round, but I still give it a crack.
Oh, great. Now you're having chai and we're talking about food and the Pune connection. I thought, have you ever tasted bakarwadi?
It's actually one of my favourite
Really?
little snacks. And it's only been recently, this
And you
year.
don't find it spicy or anything?
No.
So I've got some here for you. Do you want to try one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yummy! Ooh. Let's see if Lisa can,
They're
can manage
normally,
the spice.
there's normally, they become
Flaky?
quite round. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the Chitre one from Pune, which is the Maharashtrian bakarwadi, I was hoping to get that for you. I couldn't find that one, but I said I'll try this one instead.
No, this is still good.
You can handle the spice? It's all good? Fabulous. Lisa, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. I have got something here for you. So I've got you one of my books. I've written 4 books, but I've got you Diary of an Immigrant Bride, which is about an Indian girl who's had an arranged marriage. It's not my story.
Okay.
And I thought I'd love to give this to you. I know you don't really read books. You
No, I do at night. So
at
that's
night,
fine.
yes. So
Yeah.
there you go. So that's for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yay! Let me know if you manage to read it. It's a big book, but once you get through it, let me know.
Will do.
Yeah. So
Great.
it was written and launched in 2014, and currently there's talks to make it into a Netflix movie. So I'm hoping something comes out of that.
Right.
Is there any last words you'd like to tell our audience?
Oh, look, thanks for tuning in. Hope you learned something a little bit different about me, and make sure you keep following and supporting women's cricket.
Absolutely. Great message. Thank you so much, Lisa, for, I know you're super, super busy, but taking the time out to come here, I do appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank
anytime.
you. See you lovely people next Sunday. Bye.